Welcome to Reunite with Self podcast. I'm your host, Ruken. Here, we will be discovering and unraveling what is truly holding you back. We will put the puzzle together and give you clarity on how and what you can do to create massive shifts in your life so you start creating the life you always envisioned for yourself. No more waiting. Whether it is liberating from dysfunctional family patterns or parenting tools and tips that actually make the difference, we will be diving into the truth and core of things that are simple and yet which no one talks about. I will be sharing with you all the things that would have changed my life massively if I heard any one of these episodes. A new world is awakening, and true bliss, harmony, and peace is possible on this earth. And my mission is to bring you closer to that one step at a time. In this safe space, I will hold your hand and give you courage and certainty that you can shift anything and everything in your life. It is time we break the pattern. Whether you want to be the parent you never had or make a shift in your life so you don't play small any longer, you will find the support and guidance in this space. My intention is for you to find your own answers within yourself while you listen to this podcast, so you feel the bliss of reuniting with your true essence, with self, with so much love and compassion and courage. From my heart to yours, let's keep it rocking. My gorgeous listener, welcome to another episode on Reunite with Self. We are doing this mini-series. I am so honored and happy that you are here and that I am serving you today. So this week's episode is part 2 of 4 of the mini-series that we explore and talk about, discuss the mother wound. The previous episode, you can go back and listen to it after this one too. It doesn't matter if you've listened to it or not. I highly suggest that you listen to it for sure if you get anything from this episode. The first part of the 4-part mini-series was about the mother wound and how it is more massive than we think and where that's really coming from. And I would love to go deeper on that, just on that topic as well. If you have any opinion about that, any comments, please let me know on my Kevela Instagram. It's in the show notes. You can DM me there. Anything about the podcast, I would be so happy to answer any of your questions in an episode too. So today, the topic is, as you've seen on the title, the ways in which narcissistic mother controls, limits, and manipulates. I've put in the first episode how there are 2 ways, there are 2 types, let's say, main types. Just if we had to really generalize, there are two main ways that a mother can create big consequences for their child. And the first one is the narcissistic mother, the mother who has narcissistic tendency or who has shown and maybe still showing, probably still showing in different ways, narcissistic behavior towards their child. I think I explored a little bit on the first episode how this is so hidden and everything. We'll talk about it today. I know a lot of people in my life that they have narcissistic mothers and they have no idea. And it's so hidden from society because, as I've spoken about it in the previous episode, this is such a big taboo thing in society right now, in a global sense. Such a big taboo, especially family stuff, but especially the stuff around mother. And we explored that on the previous episode. So let's get into it today. The ways in which a narcissistic mother controls, limits, manipulates. All 1 or 2 of them. It really boils down to all of them if they're doing only one of them anyways. And when I talk about these things with you today, please bear in mind they don't have to be carrying all these characteristics and they don't necessarily need to be doing all these things. There is different types. There are different ways. If you have a specific question, please DM me on my Instagram so that I can talk specifically about your story and what generally happens with these types of stories and situations. Because obviously, like, I can't talk about every example, but just please know, because this is a way that we self-sabotage. You don't need to be seeing all of these things for you to create clarity if your mother had any narcissistic tendency or behavior, or someone that you truly love. Okay, so let's get into it. First of all, I'm going to talk to you about like what kind of a person she is, her characteristics, the types of things that they do. And then I will talk about how they manipulate. So I took notes, like 3 pages of notes this time. So I will walk you through all of this so that I didn't want to like forget anything. And if I continued, I could write more pages. So let's begin. So a mother who has narcissistic tendency behavior. This is my life experience. I've witnessed many, many, many of them. And this is what I've come up to. Like, this is my conclusion right now, my wisdom on this. First of all, this type of mother, she likes to be the center of attention. She does this in different ways. Just to summarize right away, she can either do this by her, like, talking about her accomplishments, success, beauty, social status, intellect, money, education, popularity. So with either grandiosity or by playing the victim. So she likes to be the center of attention. She might be using both of them in different situations, in different eras of her life, or in different areas of her life, in different situations. So towards her children, when they were like toddlers, babies, teenagers, and even adults, they might have played the victim on certain situations. So her problems were bigger than the child, more important than the child. And they also may have played the grandiosity, where they would speak out about their success, accomplishments, blah, 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 just in the right way and timing, so the child start playing small. I want to point out that a narcissistic mother uses, like, her narcissism is visible. You can spot it from the way that she really likes to have control over how the child is acting as a baby. Let me get into this now. So, first of all, she has an opinion on everything. This woman likes to, I don't want to say speak her mind, but she has an opinion on everything. When you are sitting at the table, usually, if she's not the one on the spectrum that plays the victim like too much, she might be more silent. But if she plays that grandiosity as well, she has an opinion, especially when the child is still growing up, becoming a person. Like, she has an opinion on everything. And the way that she talks about even other people, other situations, is a way to control the child. Information is very, very, very important to her. Not how her child, her daughter, or son is feeling. Their emotions. That's not important to her. What's important to her is information, facts. Not whether her daughter or son feels good or bad, but what's important for her is information about their life. So what's happening? What happened? The facts. This is a way to see how they can manipulate to keep their children or child either lukewarm or suffering. This is the truth. They like to see their child either suffer, and they enjoy that. I'll say this again, but they actually enjoy it subconsciously, unconsciously, consciously, depends on the story, the person. But we have to understand they actually have pleasure in this. They actually want it this way. They would actually prefer it this way. If in a very secret way they were taken into a room and they know that no one will ever know about it, themselves will not even remember this moment, and they're giving the choice. Your daughter is going to shine bright. She's going to show up as herself authentically, and she's going to start creating her incredible life. She's going to be successful, happy, fulfilled, create a beautiful family, all the things. She's going to show her talents. She's going to have great impact on other people. They're going to, if they tell her this, would you rather want this or keep her lukewarm? And she would definitely choose lukewarm and get the fuck out of that room. Excuse my French, English. She can play, she can play it to herself that, oh, I want to protect her, blah, blah, blah. She's not able to do that, just to protect her. Let's keep her as it is. We'll deal with it, whatever. I mean, whatever her excuse is for herself to justify it to herself. But I want you to understand this. A narcissistic parent is like this. It's their choice. It's their preference. Not only they enjoy that, because they have to be, a step higher in some way, just to, feel that they are something, that they're worthy, that they're enough, blah, blah, blah. All the things we talk about in the previous episodes, I'm sure you know them by now, but please go back and listen to every single episode if you can. Because every episode has something different that I'm not mentioning on another episode, because, just to keep it in, just so that I don't speak for 10 hours. Let's get back to the topic. So she cares a lot about facts and information, not about the emotions. We'll talk about all of this. I'm going to repeat these again, but she uses that information and that fact in order to have her eyes on what's happening and have control and a way to see how they can manipulate the situation, that their child, manipulating her child's emotions, beliefs about herself, himself, blah, 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 and what kind of actions they will take to manipulate them, to keep them either lukewarm or suffering. So the child might be suffering in a situation, or they might be just playing small and being just lukewarm, but deeply suffering inside and not feeling fulfilled. But, it doesn't seem as if they're having a big problem about it, but it's just lukewarm. Both is terrible. Both is terrible. Nobody wants to be lukewarm in anything. So these are the ways. Okay. And a narcissistic mother, I will give you some examples. And these are the actual experiences I've had in the last, let's say, in the last 5 years. And if I happen to have anything like this similar to this, I would have a very different reaction now, because I did not have clarity when I was listening to these stuff, because I did not have clarity on my own situation, on my own life. So I wouldn't be able to, I knew 100% that something was off. I did not want to see that person again. I felt yucky and terrible that they could speak about their child that way. I was frustrated. I was very angry. I was feeling rage. I was that angry because it was that outrageous. But I did not really have a way to speak my own truth in that moment in a way that's the core of it, as if like, I see you, like you are being a narcissist right now. Do you really want her to be amazing and great? Or are you actually like taking pleasure in this? Because the way you talk about her now makes me realize how you should be acting towards her. Like, stop playing the martyr, the mother who is like so worried about their child. The tone of them is that they're actually worried or concerned about their child when they talk about their child that they're manipulating. Okay? Please write this in like capital letters, in big pink big letters, so you have that in front of you, so that that's the thing that sabotages people. That's the thing that keeps the illusion as if they're a great mother. They're very involved, they're concerned, they're even worried about their child. They would want them to be great. This keeps the illusion for society so that the child does not get support. So the child is not awoken. So the child does not have, when I say child, adult child, by the way, as well. So they don't have a chance to create the clarity on what truly is holding them back all these years and now. Example, I'll just tell the story a little bit without mentioning who they are. Oh my goddess. So I was sitting down with someone, a friend of one of my family members, and she's a grown adult woman. She is like, oh my God, I don't even want to talk about her. I'm that outrageous. Like, I'm that angry. So this example is the one that she likes to be like popular. She makes jokes. She talks a lot. She likes to be the center of attention. She finds a way to keep her child in the whatever. Like, her child, her adult daughter, is not self-actualizing one bit. And it's so obvious to me what the reasons are of her problems. It was always obvious. And then like other people around me started seeing that too at the table, and they were like, okay, there is a problem here. But this woman doesn't look like she's a narcissist at all. Some people might say, oh, she talks a little bit too much, but they would not even care to say, are they narcissistic towards their children? It doesn't look that way. So she was, the mother, the daughter was not there, the adult daughter. She's in her gorgeous one-piece swimsuit. She looks, I don't want to say beautiful, but she looks, whatever society would say beautiful or good looking. And she was sitting in front of me, and her daughter has issues with her weight, blah, blah, blah. And she talks to me in a way, and there's other people with us. She's like, I'm so worried about her weight. She eats a lot, blah, blah, blah. And the way she's talking about her daughter, her own daughter, I was like, I could not say anything. I was like so shocked because she's the mother. It's just the way you do something that's so obvious to a highly sensitive. The way, not what you do. The way. You can do the same thing in a very different way that I can empathize. But the way she was doing it was so like, they're usually not empathetic when they're talking about their daughters. And I was like, this is not the solution to this if there is a problem. I was just, if like, I don't want to go deeper into this now, but she was talking about her daughter as if she was worried about her daughter's problem, appearance, whatever. Totally narcissistic. Go F yourself would be my response right now. Like, just get the F out right now. Okay. The second example of the mother, is that this one was very, she was always very into like high education, like always about the status, what school she's going to get into. She and him, I think that but I'm going to talk about the daughter now, adult daughter today. And this mom was sitting at a big table with a lot of different adults. The daughter was not present at the table. And this time she was talking about how, like, she talked about her daughter's sensitivity as if it was too much. But she was again in the tone of being the worried mom, the concerned mom. This is the trick. You see, this is the trick. This is the trick. This creates the illusion. This what keeps the daughter in that cycle, in that terrible cage that the mother has put her into. She can get out of it, like she thinks she is caged there and she has to, there is no escape. But the only thing she needs to do to understand, it's a fake cage. She just needs to hold the barriers and just like pull it up. And then it's going to open. So it's like a self-made, a mom-made cage. But it's not there. Like she can get out of it today, right now. And that cage was built by the mom. That's very difficult to face. I know this, but we can do hard things. It's not loving to stay in that cage. It is not love to minimize your mother's actions, nor your father's, but today we're talking about the mother. It's not love to minimize anything she has done, anything she is causing today, anything. It's not love. It's not love to minimize any of her narcissistic behavior. If you're feeling icky in the littlest sense, it's not okay to make it okay in you. It's not okay to find excuses where there is no need to find any excuses. It's just BS. Sitting at that table and just witnessing this, like how people did not even say anything, did not even mention anything like, is this your attitude towards her about any of the problems in her life that you see as a problem maybe, and you have created, by the way, like you're the source of it. She was talking about her child. At the time, she was not married, and she was, by the way, that's another story, but she was saying, oh, like, why isn't she getting married? I'm married to this man, and what did she say? She said something like, he's a good man, so why doesn't she get married? And I was like, do you even desire your husband? Like, did you even desire him one day? Like, I was going to say something else right now, but, not to curse even more, but did you even desire him one day? She is someone that is running away from her life. She's constantly traveling, like 12 months of the year. She's somewhere. 12 months. She's spending her money on traveling. It's really odd. Like, it's obvious now that there is something going on. And she got married for the wrong reasons. For sure, there is no desire there. She just trusts him. So that's the spectrum. Like, it's healthy to be trusting and desiring someone, not just trusting or not just desiring someone. The healthy one is the one in the middle where you can go to either side daily, whatever, but you have to be in the middle of that for it to be a healthy relationship, for it to be a real, true relationship. And the way she was talking about her daughter, again, she had no empathy, no compassion. Like, why is she too much for you? If she's too sensitive for you, that's crap. Like crap, by the way. I can't even, but if she's too much for you, like, why do you think would she be challenged by those emotions? Did you ever wanted to see that? Did you ever hold space for her? Did you ever have the courage, the the compassion, the willingness, the curiosity in a not a narcissistic way, like just like you want to be there for your child. Did you ever hold space for her emotions? Did you ever have the capacity for this? Did you ever do your motherly duties? This is what you had to do. So she was talking about, blah, 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 blah. And I was like responding to her. I was like kind of not like fighting her back, but I had some kind of resistance. I was like so shocked again. Those moments, I feel so just like shock, deep sadness, and it's just the moment of like deep separation. There is nothing that I can say that will change her, but I know in my heart that I have to do something because there is other people witnessing that. So it's not normalized. So I would want to be like, I see you, narcissist. Like, I see you. I see what you've been doing. Like, own your own mistakes in the situation. What you could have done better. Why aren't you trying to repair some of that right now? You have all the resources for that. You have the time, you have the money, go get support. You have all the privileges of a white, rich person. And I was like, this is a mother talking about her own child. This is like the deepest kind of example of separation. So I was really thrown out by that. Like I did not have this much clarity, so I would not like see it crystal clear in front of me. So, and I forgive myself, and I have so much compassion for myself, and I know why it hurts so bad for me in those moments. My wish is that these daughters see that there is a high narcissism in their mothers, and they have the strength to freaking turn that into their, using it as a leverage to freaking start self-actualization and self-actualizing and starting their true journey in life, their true path, choosing their own life and shining their light so bright that they're truly just themselves and making decisions and choices in their lives that they're not scared to be seen. Because these mothers, narcissistic mothers, make sure that the child is not comfortable to be seen in her authenticity. She just makes sure of that when the child is young. So she doesn't need to go out, like do something extreme or big after the child is 17 years old. She doesn't need to do those big things when the child is an adult. That's why it is not easy to see what's happening for the adult child. She already made sure to do those things that you don't even remember right now consciously. They're all in your subconscious. Everything you've experienced with that mother, every little moment is there. But you don't remember what she was doing when she was when you were 2-3 years old. You were like, you don't remember the stuff that she did, the dead face mother, the neglectful mother, where she's not even there. She's not even present. The baby wants to be seen. Someone was talking about on a podcast of this example of the IG post. I think I've seen a little part of it. I don't even know if I'd be able to watch the whole thing, but there is a baby and there is the adult, maybe the mother, and they're doing this experiment, and I was just talking about it makes me sad. But the mother stops being present, and she has no facial expression. She's like dead mother. They call it dead face mother or something. And the baby, you can see on her face how she goes from like being concerned, like what's happening, like she's like panicking, and then there is like full sadness. Like she goes through all those emotions because the mother is not there. She's not engaging with her in any emotional way. That is the true role of the mother. And these narcissistic mothers, they don't have to be narcissistic, by the way, for this example, this very big example, but these narcissistic mothers were never there. And many of our mothers were not there. The neglect is the biggest kind of trauma. It's huge. And if we do any somatic work, there is a chance for us to be able to recognize those moments or that kind of behavior or patterns, or start seeing the emotions that you might have gone through as a child. The result of this, I can do another episode on this. If you want that, please DM me. The result of that is you can see the results in your adult life. The type, if you're a woman, and we're talking about your mother, the dead-faced mother, the neglectful, not engaging, not being there emotionally, because she's in her own head, she's in her own problems, like her worry is something completely different. And that you can see a lot of that you can see in that child's romantic relationships. A lot of limerence. I did not know this, by the way. I thought a daughter's romantic relationships were always about the father, the relationship to the father. But what I have come to realize is that the dead-faced mother, like the neglectful, the abandoning one, she's not really there. She's not present emotionally. And that comes out to have, like, basically they become the standard of that child, the standard, the familiar thing. And then they, of course, play out in the people that they choose to partner with. So that's another topic. I'm not going to talk about it today, but if you want me to talk about that, please let me know, because it's big. I will probably do an episode on that, but let me know. So I would do it sooner. So this was another example. I would act differently. I would just leave the table, maybe. Like, I don't need to fight back, but that was very challenging for me. I was like, I wanted to call the daughter and be like, your mom is a narcissist. Like, this is why you have the limiting beliefs about yourself. Like, every challenge you have right now, it's because of that. And the freaking thing about this is that I know a daughter like this, an adult daughter like this. The saddest part is that if you would say anything to the mother, she would protect her. Let's say you are at a table and someone starts a little bit like poking at the mother, like, doing it in a way that I see what you've been doing or what you might have been doing, questioning her. She would protect the mother. These daughters are so compassionate, so empathetic, highly sensitive, whether they know or show or not, that they have, and this is an illusion, by the way, it's not love, but they want to protect the mother because it's a huge thing for them to face this, because it's not just one moment, like it's a whole big thing, right? Your mom had been narcissistic towards you. She had been doing all of that to get those results in your life. This is not easy, but we can do hard things. So whoever is ready for this, I just hope that this podcast reaches them. So if you can leave a 5-star comment on the podcast, like do anything, would be so fantastic, so I can reach more highly sensitive, compassionate, empathetic souls. So another example of a mom was, oh my God, this is terrible. This is a mother-son example. We are sitting at a dinner table and there's all these people, the son and the daughter in that situation, but the son is not there at the table. And this narcissistic mother was, I gave this example in another episode, I remember. She was talking about like how, like she was being proud that her son said, pick the woman I should marry. What the freaking F? Like, what the F? He's an adult man, like working, doing his thing. And he said to his mom, Mom, you pick the woman that I should marry. And she was being proud of that. Of course, she's the reason that he's saying that. Of course. Like, what were you doing when he was a 2-3-year-old boy? What were you doing? These nuanced stuff, like the things that they were doing, if you were witnessing them today, watching yourself as a 2-3-year-old, you would see the sadness in your eyes. You would see the helplessness. You would not minimize it. But it's easier to minimize because it's safer, it's more comfortable for society, it's comfortable maybe for you. You suffer more, but it's more comfortable. But it's not the way. It's not love. It was never love. So it's time that we change. We realize this taboo, but we do it anyways. Because if there is any chance of love, this is the way. Abandoning yourself was never love. Minimizing that was never love. It's where those instances are where there is lack of love. It will never be love to minimize that and not see that and not take action on that and not creating the clarity on that. It was never love. It will never be love. So I will repeat this again, just so that we cover it fully. The trick here is that these mothers look involved, concerned, worried, or even worried about their son's and daughter's life. So that's why that child cannot get support from others either, because it looks as if the mom is just being a mom. And they usually played with subtitles. So let's get into this, how they manipulate. I'm not going to talk about like what they did as when the child was a baby, a toddler. I'm going to talk about the things that you can remember. So they manipulate by these narcissistic mothers. One, their hyper focus on info rather than emotions is a big indication. Okay? You can remember yourself as a 17-year-old, 6-year-old, as an adult, or 20s, whatever. Hyper focus, and today as well, hyper focus on info rather than emotions. These mothers are not fun to chat with, usually, most of the time, for like stranger, like me chatting with a narcissistic mother of someone else's mother, not my mom, not your mother. I'm not talking about that because it won't be easy for you to identify because they're going to look as if they're really popular, blah, blah, blah. A narcissistic mother, when you sit down with them, it's not easy to chat with them, like just small talk or whatever. You can't go deep with them, by the way. It won't be fun. It's not fun because they're a lot on, like, they're on the left brain, a lot like logical, critical, a lot like mental. It's not on an emotional level, like there is no deepness. And it's like a lot of like, they would question you a lot too. They would like surfacey. They would focus on information, facts, blah, blah, blah. It's not fun to chat with them as an empathetic person. So hyper focus on info rather than emotions, as if facts are the only way to solve things. And they use those facts to sabotage, create doubt, confusion for their child. So it's like a snowballing effect for that suffering to stay and grow in their child's life. So they make sure they have all the information of what the actions of the child is, what the situation is, what the facts are, what the results are, what the current situation, what the past was, and they use all of that information against the child. Because it's easy, because we are human. We have to understand everything I talk about here about self-actualization, or anything you hear about self-actualization, or anything you hear about success, anything you hear about anyone talking about like creating something magnificent in your life. You cannot use your past to determine your future, and you cannot focus on your failures to create success. You cannot use that, how many times you fell down, why you fell down. Like, it does not determine your identity. It cannot. If you solely base on that, you can never create another alternative. So they use all that fact for that. So it's, of course, you can use that if you want to sabotage someone. It's the easiest thing in the world. We are so, like, we have a tendency to self-doubt, have confusion, hesitate, not believe in our potential, blah, blah. We have that tendency anyway as a human being. So why use that against your child? It's what they teach by experiencing that, by making them experience that again and again. So it just becomes the way the child thinks in the future, and the way they speak to themselves is how the mother were speaking to them if they're doing any self-bad talk. That's not their own voice. That voice is someone else's. It doesn't even belong to them. Those limiting beliefs, that doesn't even belong to them. So it is possible for you to let go of all of that, because it never belonged to you in the first place. And the fact that you're listening to this podcast or doing anything just makes it obvious for you that you have a totally different potential, totally different alternative of life, like totally different potentiality. It's not you. It's what you were accustomed to. It's what you experienced over and over and over again in the just the right time, the right way, just the right time to have someone self-doubt. Because it is possible to do this to anyone. You can do this to a narcissist and they would bring down the roof to your head. Like, they would probably be, if I imagine a guy, he would be outrageous. So, hyper-focus on info rather than emotions, as if facts are the only way to solve things. BS. They use facts to sabotage, create doubt, confusion, blah, blah, blah. And they create the snowballing effect for the suffering to stay and to grow. For example, by asking too many questions, again, on facts, not your emotions. Asking too many questions just at the right time, that would actually work on a narcissist too. But the way they would react is to start poking at you. Like, how dare you? Who the F are you to talk to me this way? And start showing you examples about your own life. So they would do something different. But the compassionate, empathetic, highly sensitive is like, they make it about themselves. They think there is a problem. Like, they're not able to realize that that woman is creating an illusion. Why are you talking about me? Like, you're not able to say that, especially if you're a 17-year-old girl or boy. And before that and after that. Okay. But there is a way to change all of this. And it's like one moment. Like, one moment you make a decision and there is like no more. No more of this. You can do this. I don't want to say it's easy, but it is simple. Once you make that decision, there is no going back, and you just use it as a leverage to keep on going even further, faster, with more commitment. Because it's not love to stay there. And just wasting life away for that, you will never get anything that you're looking for in that. You will never get that thing that you're waiting for. Another thing, they do not have a way to hold space. The mother, the narcissistic mother, does not have a way to hold space or handle their child's emotion. There is no capacity for this, like in a compassionate, loving way. Like the mother figure, like a loving, compassionate embrace, like caressing you and just being there gently, holding space for you. They don't have capacity for that mother figure. No capacity for this. They actually use your challenging emotions again as a weapon. That, that they're worried about you, that you're such in a bad place, that they're so worried about you, that, because worrying about someone shows that they're not respecting you as a person, that you can handle your life. You can respect even a child, that they're able to handle their life, but you can be there totally present with them to hold space for them, for their emotion, because that's the only thing a child needs actually. Most of the time, like 90% of the time, the childs know what to do. But they just need someone to hold space because they don't know what to do with that emotion in their body. Okay. And so, and then they use it as a badge of honor to outsiders and to their children as well. But they use it as a badge of honor to outsiders that they're actually caring, that they're worried about their child. So society in general doesn't even have a clue, or they don't want to look at it that way because they're not looking at their own lives that way. So it's more accommodating, that they don't even look at it in a way that, what is this mother really doing in the background? Like, what's really happening? Does she really want her child to thrive? Or is she actually kind of having pleasure out of this? So yeah, they use it as a badge of honor to outsiders. They even like talking about their child as if they're worried, blah, blah, blah. And they make the outsiders look at their child in that, from those eyes too, that they're not, they're like, oh my God, like what situation are you in? It's just like snowballing effect from all ways, so that the identity the mother is creating for the child, it just becomes more and more evident to the child that is the truth about themselves, which is BS, by the way. Like, it's the total opposite. And that's why the narcissistic mother wants to keep them shut down. It's usually whoever they're narcissistic towards more is the child that has the true potential, that has a very authentic, like they're authentically gifted, and they're the ones that is really going to shine in a way that, the society will see as something more valuable because it's more original. It has more impact on others. It holds a lot of value. And it's so ironic. The adult child, if they don't create clarity, they're going through a very different reality. And they have no idea about their potential. They do inside, and that's why they're suffering, because their soul knows, like, this is not what I'm meant to live and experience. Like, I went through challenges, yes, but I should be living a very different reality right now and creating different results in my life. Like, this is not my potential. That's why there is a lot of suffering in the person, because they're playing it down, playing small. So, just like continuing with everything. So they use the situation of the child again, as when they're talking to outsiders that they're worried, blah, 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 just to get the attention on the child's situation instead of what they've been up to. Let's continue. So you have to understand, again, I'm going to continue, I'm going to repeat this. You have to understand they enjoy their child's suffering, struggle, playing small, being lukewarm. This is I don't want to say the sad reality, because after a while, like when you truly create the clarity, there is a grief process. But after the grief process, you're like, who cares? Let's just go. Let's go. This is the truth. So I'm not going to try to change that. I'm not going to try to change how they feel about me, what they like. That's not the story anymore for you. You just want to go. But there is first grief. So never minimize that. Okay. I'm just telling you, like, after the grief, like however that long might, but there is like big grief after that. And there's no time table on that. So 2, this was 1. 2, they cannot hear someone else compliment their child. Again, I have examples of this, but when they want to be the center of attention. And by the way, their suffering, the narcissistic mother's suffering is really deep. A narcissist suffering is really deep because, life is about suffering, competition, and all of that stuff. That's why they feel the need to compete with their own child. Their suffering is deep. But from the outside, someone who's not highly empathetic or highly sensitive, they don't even see that. They see some completely different story from outside. I took note here saying usually, not always, they get married for wrong reasons. This is what I have experienced. This is what I witnessed, but usually not always. Because sometimes the narcissistic mother is married to another narcissist. Okay, so they thought they were in love, but a lot of times they married someone who will be the codependent and is like the good guy in the situation, but they have a role in their child's suffering because they're not there to support them, and they fall into the trap and the illusion of what the mother is creating. So they have 50% of the responsibility of whatever is happening. Like it's 50-50 towards the child. If you really look at it from a truth. So they cannot hear someone else compliment their child. And so they just say something to get the attention out of their, oh, it's like, she's like me, that's why, or something like that. They have to say something. They either say something bad about the child. So, it's just terrible. But I'm not even going to go into that example. I'm sure you get it. They don't like their child to have compliments, even if they're there or not there, the child being present there or not. How people see the child is important for them, of course, because of that. Like they're really focused on the how people perceive you. So that's why. 3, this is another example. And this might have played when you were younger, or maybe even today too. It depends on the type of the narcissist, but their pain, their problem, the narcissist mother's problem, pain, suffering is more important than the child. So that's why they might be neglectful, dead-faced mother, or, abuse the child, and in any way, neglect is abuse too, and just say, oh, I'm having problems with your father, or we are having money issues, or we are having blah, 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 and, just justify their behavior. And it's just terrible way to exemplify what a relationship is to a child, saying that I can do this to you because I have this problem, so I can totally not be accountable for someone who's dependent on me. 4, they always need to comment on info they hear about you. So it's like they always need to say something. When you say something that you are proud of, when you say something that you are passionate about, that you are excited about, that you made plans about, they need to say something. That you need to understand, you need to see those moments clearly, because that is how it works. That they those moments will be the indicators for you to create your clarity. So they would be gaslighting, sabotaging, creating self-doubt, confusion, creating disempowerment in their adult child. I'm not even talking about before. Before they were doing it, but today they would be doing that again. It's a sigh, a facial expression, a comment, an innocent looking question. An innocent looking question or comment is enough for it to work. I'll repeat it again. A sigh, a facial expression, a comment, a question, a seemingly innocent question is enough for it to work today. Please write this in capital letters. If you're taking notes or just in your mind's eye. Because these are the ways that we minimize a narcissistic mother's actions. Because, it was just a sigh. Like you just put it somewhere, put it under the rug and just minimize your own emotions. Because they are crazy indicators. They are just one small bit they have to do today because of all the things that they've done before. Okay, 5. We're almost done, so I will let you go soon. I'm not going to give you more information or examples on this. So their biggest weapon is they use their child's past against them, like how they failed, like the fact that they failed in something and cannot do it this time. They use that as a weapon, or they use their child's current problems against them. And they know what works. They know what works in you. That's why they say something, they comment something, they question, they ask a question, like a seemingly simple question. They know what works in you. That's enough because you haven't created the clarity about the past yet. That's why it seems kind of confusing, but you're not really sure if it's you or them. It's them. It's not you. You should not be feeling any kind of those emotions toward your mother. If you feel any kind of something icky, you should be able to talk about that openly in a very safe place about your emotions. It needs to feel totally safe for you. And you need to feel the total compassion and not feel as if you are more or less because of the emotions you feel. Okay? And anything is a weapon for them. I just wanted to give you these examples. The family needs to look great on certain things as if the children are greatly supported. This is usually the case of the examples that I'm giving, like how a highly narcissistic mother does not create an extreme story in the eyes of the society for this to work and for it to prevail as long as the child does not create clarity. When you create the clarity, it's done. You cut that cord. It's done. Like nothing is going to be the same again, ever. And you are so much more powerful than you think. And they know this. And that's why if you had a narcissistic mother, if you had, this is why. They knew the potential in you and they go after the one that they see a high potential in. They don't care about maybe the other sibling that's narcissistic. They don't care about that. Or they don't care about the child that doesn't have a high potential. They go after the one that has a very high potential. That is like unmatched to them, by the way. That's going to be a very special potentiality. And you are able to create that today. Everything is happening just at the right time. The longer that you waited, it can be your leverage. You can use it as a leverage. The longer you waited, the more it caused in you, the more suffering, whatever the consequences, it doesn't matter. Like it's not how you start with disadvantage. It can be your biggest advantage. And whatever you went through, your gifts might lie in what you went through. And the way they create the representation of themselves in society and how they're like a worried mother, blah, blah, mother, martyr, whatever. The child self-sabotages and feels shame if they want a way out because of what the mother has created a figure for themselves, like how the family looks, like as if it's a close family, as if a loving family, as if a whatever involved family, whatever it looks like, the child feels more shame because of that. That's why you waited until today. These are the reasons that you waited until today, or maybe you started changing your life already and you're just listening to this and makes sense to you. These are only the reasons you waited until now. I'm telling you all of this so it's easier for you to start creating your clarity. And life will never be the same again once you create your true clarity. And the identity they create is because of all of the things that I talked about on the podcast today. It becomes your identity because of the things they do. And it creates the limiting beliefs because of the things that they have done. They are not you. Those things are not you. They never even belong to you. Once you, like Tony Robbins says this, I guess, and he heard from someone else, I don't remember, but once you say a lie enough times, people start believing it. It becomes their reality. But it's not the truth. And you can change it today. And you have so much power and resilience, and that's why you chose those parents. You are so much stronger than you think. And let's bring out the core why we chose those parents. The core lesson is for you to choose true love, which is self-love first. Truly. For us to choose self-love, true love, creating the clarity, and moving on. Then life brings you magic. Life brings you true magic because you've done something that is truly challenging for you. I love you so much. I'll see you next week. Anything we've talked about today, please show compassion to yourself. Please put your hands on your heart. Show compassion. Healing is through the feeling. So I love you. I see you. I will see you shine your brightest. See you next week. My gorgeous listener, if you had any takeaways from this episode or from this podcast in general, I would love to know. Please share this episode with a few loved ones right now. You never know how they can benefit from something so small. And please take a screenshot of this episode and share on IG, tagging me at Khewela. That is Khewella. Khewela. That is my goddess wear brand, my Instagram page. I would love to know what your takeaway was, or something you found inspirational, or a confirmation you believe in as well. That would make my day. And you can always DM me if you have a topic or a certain question in mind that you want me to talk about. And give me a 5-star rating if you feel like it. That would help this podcast immensely to get the word out. I love you. See you on the next one. I want to see you shine your brightest.